Smith, this episode of Ain't That Swell is brought to you by West Up River, bruh. The new collection from Otis Carey, courtesy of the Bong, Billabong, supporting Ain't That Swell. But as you know, man, the Otis Carey collections are fucking just full-blown sellouts. Like, ever since he did his first one a few years ago with the flag on the boardies, that iconic fucking symbol of, First Nations peeps. It's just a full-blown sellout. So this is his new one, West Up River, and it's available at billabong.com, bruh.
Mental.
Yeah. Frothing on that one?
Fucking oath. You can Spinny Arnold out, the Gumbaynggirr man from Coffs, the family lineage there at Red Rock. And what was the story there he was telling me years ago? I think his granddad or grandma had to hide in the mangroves on the river to escape the missionaries. And I think his granddad was one of the last initiated men of that tribe. So, yeah, deep roots,
fully,
obviously.
And, well, this collection is about the connection between earth and ocean. He's just the man. He's, a world-class, highly respected artist, proud Gumbaynggirr man, proud Bundjalung man. So, good on you. Oat, get in behind. Don't forget, still 10 days to sign up to our Ain't That Swell Billabong mailing list or whatever to get your $500 worth of Bongcron, Smithy. Imagine it, man. Imagine you fucking take that thing out. You get decked out in your $500 Bongcron kit. You walk into the Prince of Merriweather in Newcastle there. You see Simo, you see Hoy, you see Steele. You start punching Winnie Reds and fucking drowning schooners to Steel City. You're just having the best day of your life, bruh.
Amazing. Bedsy, Joey. You're
Hey,
just
boys.
you're king of the nights. You're king of the Steel City. Doesn't get any better.
Drop a few handy on the horses in the front bar there. It's a great arvo. But that's if you want to sign up, it's on our Linktree or billabong.com/swellians. Sign up now. $500 worth of Bongcron coming your way.
Bono, Patreon, it's still kicking along. The Swellians
Yes.
are piling on and throwing us a few coins.
Who we got?
A couple more to add to the list.
Yeah.
We have Dean Delandre, a mad, I think he's from the north side, originally lives in Torquay, an artiste who put Smithy up on his couch back in the bad old days of Tour Life when we couldn't afford anywhere to stay.
Wait, he's put you up on his couch and he's chucking coin at you to listen to you gab along?
I know. He's too good to us.
You mad dog.
And we've got David Pearce throwing us four bones.
Any relation to the great Wayne, the great Mitchell?
Second cousin, surely. You'd have to be, wouldn't
have to be.
What else we got here? We got Kieran Carson throwing 8 bones our way. He must be on the Kiwi pesos or something. But well played to you, sir.
Well done, mate.
Nathan Bilby, 5 buckaroos. Yeah, go on, boys and girls. Chuck us a bit of loot and keep the gags coming.
Yeah, mate. Good work, Swellians. Get him behind.
Hey, well, first of all, I'd like to say, and ASB are going to find me, because I want to be a part of this fucking dumb wannabe tennis tour.
I think they got his testicles so far up their mouths that this is bullshit,
I'm not thinking about that right now. I'm just thinking about having won the world title and hopefully trying to win another one someday. You just drop in and just smack the quarterback. Drop down, snap.
Well, I'll tell you, Stu, I did battle some humongous waves.
Oh, just the paper, please?
Oh, surf looks good on it.
Not bad.
Ain't That Swell with Jed
And Vaughn.
Oh, those guys are back!
Get a haircut.
Yes, shredheads, waxheads, kooks and barneys, welcome to Ain't That Swell, the radio show dedicated to cutting fucking sick.
Man.
I'm your host, the 2-time Gold Cone Piece Award-winning surf journalist, Scum Valley's finest himself, the punch-drunk pikey, the sultan of psilocybin, the maestro of micro-dosing, Smithy. And I'm joined here as always by my loyal co-host and friend, frontman of the Goons of Doom, former editor of Surfing World Magazine, Tracks Magazine, and Waves Magazine, Vaughn, Rinsed Corn, Deadly. Vaughn, it's stiff offshore, it's sunny blue skies, there's been an old-fashioned swell apocalypse all up and down the East Coast, and all I've got to show of it is a stomach infection due to some fucking ticks my dog gave me. Fuck!
Oh, well, look, That's unfortunate, Smith. I'm sorry to hear that, man. But
Bad to worse. Just can't get through a
Look,
week at the moment.
the silver lining for you is that Doinker has never looked cooler, mate. He is literally a cone head right
He
now.
is.
What happened? He got his nuts cut off, and now he has to wear the cone to stop him from licking and scratching his stitches out.
Precisely.
It's a weird thing that dogs do, isn't it? I mean, if I had my nuts cut off, licking that spot doesn't come to mind as the first thing I'd want to do, but dogs are all about it.
Yeah, a little bit of hygiene.
Oh, that's right.
A little bit of nostalgia, even. Trying to wish them or lick them back. Poor buggers. But you know why you got to get dogs.
You would if you could, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and you know why you got to get dogs to sex? Because if they don't get a root, all that stagnant spunk causes cancer.
I actually did hear that, yeah.
It solidifies and just turns to some black tumour. So let it be a lesson to all of you swellians out there. If you're in a dry patch, don't be afraid to rub one out. You don't want that spunk crystallising in your sack and having to get it drilled or chipped out.
So my sister, Rosie, lives down in Coffs Harbour and with her two daughters, my nieces, Dusty and Wynn, and they've got a little long-haired chihuahua called Pappy Chulo. And a common thing in chihuahuas is that their balls actually don't drop out, right? So they're just wedged up there somewhere in the abdominal region. But exactly what you just said, because their balls don't drop, they never get a shot away. And so the testes, just as they would on the outside, if they just are breeding, because they get toey, they fill up, but they can't go anywhere with it. So... it's cancerous, man. So you got to be right on top of that, man. Rub out Deluxe if you are in a dry spell. That's great advice. Back that. But yeah, Doinker's looking epic, man. I know that it's probably not how he wants to be, but he's a fucking conehead. Like, he's the ultimate Swellian mascot right now.
Mate, he's getting fully coned 24/7. He's living in the cone.
I'm going to whack it up. I'm going to whack it up on the gram so people can check out just how legitimately coned Doinker is getting. But no, it's been fun, man. Actually, before we get into the show, Smithy, our Is the Changers dog shit app really fucking fired people up.
Oh, yeah.
People, I just went away with Jolie Vaughan, Alistair Reginato, Macy Callahan, and who else was on that trip? Isla Huppets, Nixie Ryan from Lennox, who's on the Chang as well. And, there's a lot of... What would you say? So none of those crew are much for a whinge. They're all pretty staunchy characters. But
I would say there's truth, Vaughn. A lot of truth.
Yeah.
Coming at the Was and the Chang
they
right
are. They're grit merchants, like all those four. And they did seem reluctant to sort of like rip the boot in. But...
Well, you can't, because if you rip the boot in, you might get a bit of fucking stink lines coming your way from the Was administration, the deep state. You don't want to piss the deep surf state. You don't want to piss any deep state off on. We saw what happened to old Don.
Yeah.
You don't want Renato up in the books depository with his 22 out going, oh, yeah, Huppets, you want to have a go at the Was, eh? Red dot on ya! Pop!
Well, the funny thing is the overall feeling is that the Chang is failing. Like, it's just not... it's just not functioning as a legitimate stepping stone. That was basically the point of our combo, right? Like, there needs to be improvement. There needs to be a show of respect from the Was to elevate the quality of the waves so that you're not just providing a legitimate sort of training ground for the CT, but you're also respecting the money, the commitment, the just dedication of a life's work to try and reach that level.
Absolutely. Look, if Alejo Muniz
used to be.
I love that because we put this to Slater at the Margaret River Beer Farm show, and that was his preferred tour format.
Occy too. Occy's always beat that drum.
It's a great concept, and I mean that enabled Curran to win a world title from the trials, right? And it's just constant big names, up and comers going toe to toe. You got the vets, you got the young frothers just ripping shreds off each other. No love lost.
Man,
full bloodbath.
Like, it does sort of like open up a massive, a broader scope of narratives that, you know, the stories that can come out of like some just, say you got 4 local wildcards in every event. Like, fuck, man, they could be from anywhere, like with no opportunity, like the Sheldon Pyshons of this world. Like, imagine him just getting wildcard in a CT and going all the way through on the back of there being more opportunities, basically. So That was Pagey's chip in. Mark Richo had a little bit more of a practical sort of look at it. This is Richo from up the coast, father of Ty Richo, fucking super coach. Richo said, "You're 100% correct about the Challenger Series. It's good, but it could be a lot better, no question. I agree with your comments, but what I don't agree with is the way that the Australian Regional Series is working. So he's got an issue with the Changers and the regional, the way they sort of function side by side. Step 1 and step 2, basically. He says, at first it was good, but now the crew have to get to Indo for 2 comps and then to the Philippines and then to Taiwan to do the 4 5,000 overseas events. And there is only one 1,500 in Oz. So basically he's saying to get big points on the regional queue, you've got to travel still. Like, you've got to go to Indo, you've got to go to the Philippines, you've got to do all that. And you can't really qualify if you don't have the cash to get overseas, even though it's an Australian regional tour. So that doesn't make sense. Don't get me wrong, the Indo comps are insane, and there should be comps overseas for the Aussies to compete in. But when we did a couple of 5,000s with just the Aussies in the event, it was absolutely mad for Australian surfing. It's a good point, man. Like, the big 5,000s are all overseas right now. So there's a little bit of massaging that needs to be done there between the regional queue and the Challenger.
Yeah, it's insane.
The other thing is, if you're going fucked on the Challenger, you have got to get to those Indo events, and they're kind of all going down at the same time.
Oh,
so that's
scheduling
heavy.
Nightmare and just a massive resource spend. Like, a lot of these people on the Challenger Series are running at a financial loss. Many are unsponsored, and even those who are sponsored are not able to break even. So mate, you can't get to the top of your sport and then be plunged into this financial abyss. I mean, what is this, the Olympics?
Yeah. It was interesting your chat with Chippo, man. You know, he really sort of said that as well as that sort of mental freefall that you go into, the Challenger Series is just not viable. It's literally not viable unless you're against semis or better. That's
crazy.
Madness.
And you're traveling all this way to surf mush. Like, if you're actually getting to surf proper waves, you wouldn't have such a bugbear with running at a financial loss. Then you just be on your classic surf trip.
Yeah.
But they're not even getting that out of it.
Nah. So changes need to be made. Richo just finished up with the vibe at the comps is insane with the Aussies pushing each other. I know the money has been a problem, but this needs to change for the good of Australian surfing. Hear, Richo.
Hear, Richo.
Well
Well
said.
said.
And the final word here from Cale Bell Warren, Lip Podcast, and Super Coach as well. He just said amen. Amen to that. Yeah, the Changers is dog shit, needs hardcore work. Something to think about there for the Was Smithy as we move into the back half of the Chang.
Food for thought for who is the replacement for Logan? Have they announced it yet?
For what?
Eric Logan, who's the new CEO?
Yeah, they have announced it. It's just some faceless drone who knows what he's going to do with it.
Well played. Shouldn't be too long before the red dot appears on him as well.
Finger buns. Number 5.
Vorno, A Place of Thorns, an epic documentary on the history of Mex Pipe, Porto Escondido by AVG, Alan Van Geysen and Will Bendix.
Oh.
2 high-class visual storytellers out of South Africa. AVG, he's been an absolute fixture of print surf mags, in particular Zigzag. I don't know if he started it or he's been a fundamental part of that. Will Bendix, a journalist.
Yep.
Couple of Gold Cone Piece Award winners, and geez, they'll be polishing one off after this offering. It's an insane documentary. Kind of regards the full history of Porto Escondido, one of the most iconic waves on Earth, right from the original wave of acid freaks on the run from conscription who find waves in Mex, and then the locals take the baton from there, and right up until the present, where it's turned into this typical development, capitalist, greed shit show. But an incredibly well-told story, and just, mate, some of the waves in this doco are insane. You've got Mark Healy's 50-footer, a couple of fucked up cones by Greg Long, Billy Kemper. There's this Mexican Sean Briley. Don't know what his name is, but this kind of rotund matador who just knifes one and stands tall, gets blown out, thanks to the creator of the universe. And I just had to doff the gaff to you, sir. A rebate, on delay, muchacho. Well played. You're Credit to your people and the species.
Yeah.
Great film.
Oh, man, I love this movie. What trips me out is what a cool thing to do as a filmmaker. You know, like both these guys, as you say, from South Africa, but getting over there, understanding how special this place is, understanding the plight of the local people, watching surf tourism just fucking destroy yet another gem that's out there.
Let's
And like surf tourism, like it's coastal development, all right, but like it's on the back of like these areas just becoming such hotspots.
It's because it's got nothing to do with surfers. That's the fucked up thing.
Yeah.
Surfers find these places always. They uncover waves. They like live cheap, enjoy the natural surroundings. That's what we're there for. And then there's all these fucking gronks in the corporate world who, I don't know, like they see popularity, but I think a lot of it's also like they see like fit, strong bodies, you know, health, wellness, like the hot surf dudes attract the hot chicks. It's just this amazing scene that bubbles out of the mycelium. And then these corporate reptiles come in over the top, buy up these places, force us to rent it back off them at a premium, fuck the locals over, fuck the environment, and fuck the wave. That's the craziest thing.
Yeah.
Porto's now full of sewage. There's fucking like jetties that are fucking the banks up. It's like just a classical capitalist shit show. And it got me thinking that, like, because it's just such a common story. It happens over and over again.
It does.
Every popular surf spot from J-Bay to Porto to the Bukit, and basically every place you can name goes through this process. And it just made me realise...
Fuck, mate, Aragon Bay, like you name it, dude. Like, any little spot that is vulnerable to that big money influx and taking advantage of, like, you know, the local people going who've never even heard of that amount of money in their entire lives. Like, of course they're going to fucking sell cheap. It's a fucking heavy karmic imbalance that surfing has got to fucking... I don't know how to manage it. I don't know what the solution is to it.
Yeah,
man.
and this is...
But shining a light on it is definitely one way to at least get people fucking caring about it. You know, this film is so well done. It is top notch. It's got a fucking AI, Morgan Freeman, narrating the thing.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, if you can't get the real deal, mate, get the robots onto it.
Get Morgan Freeman with his head in a jar, Futurama style, just rabbiting on.
Well, if robots ever actually learn ethics and have a soul, if that ever comes to be with AI, mate, they're doing all the hardcore research. You know, Morgan Freeman AI could be firing up the Terminators to go out there and take care of these corporate fucking
wouldn't that be good?
Swindlers.
Couple of flesh-eating Morgan Freeman robots with AR-15s under
Imagine
each
that,
arm,
man.
just red dotting every reptile in sight. Dead! Dead!
Imagine that's an unseen future, like utopian version of what AI could do. Hey, it develops a soul, understands the bureaucracy and the fucking failings of all that hypocritical nature of it, and just starts taking out the fucking 1%.
Oh, it'd be that good. A crew of ragtag socialist surf anarchist robots, a Zapatistas relived there on the beaches of Porto Escondido.
Love this, Smithy.
I'd love to see too. But, I mean, look, we might have to wait a while for that to develop, for the flesh-eating surf Nazis to arrive and start blowing away the capo wankers. In the meantime, I think the Save the Waves coalition is a good place to start.
Yeah.
But really, in terms of solutions, it seems to me that there needs to be like a really strong political presence at these waves from surfers, the surf community and the local community. And it has to be like very organized, very tight, very direct, you know, a lot of meetings, a lot of intention behind it, some clear guidance, because we got to stop this. Punta de Lobos, another one in Chile, the fucking Club Med that they wanted to build there. Like, you know, the shipping terminal, Kira, it never ends. And the reason it never ends is because these people who are doing this shit, they don't surf, they don't get surfing. They're just there to make a quid. And their clientele aren't surfers either. They're these mainstream knob jockeys with GoPro sticks, fucking standing around getting washed out to sea. So old mate, the lifeguard, next pipe's got to, you know, put down his taco and run out there and fish a couple of fucking kooks out of the 20-foot shorey. Like, it's madness. It's full-blown chaos because of kooks. Everywhere you look, rich kooks, mainstream tourist kooks. You got no place being a Mex pipe, unless you're going to dust off the Rhino Chaser and knife one.
Well,
Just stay out of the way.
Speaking of kooks getting flogged at player Zicatella there, Smithy, myself, Aussie Wrong, Cowboy, we just decided to do a trip down there. This would be around about 2013, I reckon. Nah, maybe even earlier, maybe around 2003. So it was 20 years ago. John was about 11. He was there with Nathan, a young Nathan, a young Ivan. Nathan had a missing tooth because Ivan had punched one of his teeth out. This is his baby teeth. So it was a classic scene. Yeah, Mama John was there as well. They were staying with Coco. The beach had a bit of a development going on already. There were kind of like big, empty, kind of crazy-looking hotels right on the foreshore. But other than that, it felt kind of like in the early stages of what this film's talking about. You know, they're just a rampant fucking taken down of the joint. But, yeah, we landed on the airstrip right behind the hotels there. And Porto was fucking massive and just cooking. And
it sucks in so much swell, doesn't it?
Like, it's mad.
One of the cool things about this doco is that it explains the phenomenon.
How it works, yeah.
This crazy trench off the back of it. So, like, you can have 3 foot of swell, like tiny amounts of swell, and it's like 6 to 8 in that one little gully in the center of the beach because of this trench. It just runs up this super deep trench and unloads right on the shore.
That's it, man. Well, it was fucking huge and pumping, but like a bit scary for our first surf. So we decided to go up La Punta, sick little left up the end where a lot of the original Momentum film was done. And the first thing we see, which I've talked about on this potty plenty of times, is Mum John just surfs straight into this giant obelisk that sticks out of that lineup about halfway down. Straight into it. Fucking gets buckled on this rock. Gets dragged up the beach by Aussie. Aussie pulled her out of the water and she's like looking up at me and I was going, look after my boys. And I was going, fuck, don't tell me and Aussie are going to be the surrogate fathers of the John triplets. It was hectic, but... So we ended up surfing the point. She got taken to hospital, bandaged up. She was fine, thank goodness. Yeah, you know, who knows what John, Nathan and Ivan would look like if Aussie and I were their dads.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be a very different scene going down, mate. Different scene to what they're doing now, but...
A lot more mushrooms, I'd imagine.
I just had a cunt of a surf. I could not get this point done. It was a little bit wobbly. Anyway, we get back to the hotel at Players Zicatella and I'm like, fuck it, I'm out there. Mate, I run down the beach with my biggest board. I think it was a 610. Way undergunned. It was like 10 foot out there. Didn't even bother running up to the harbour or anything. Just start paddling into the lineup, just fizzing out. Just because I was angry, man. I was angry. I wanted to take it on.
Place to be.
Nah, and Cowboy was sitting with me on the beach, and he's like, "Oh, no, I don't know, man." And he goes, "I'm going to watch it for a bit." I was like, "Fuck yeah!" I just paddled out. Aussie's up in the hotel looking down. I get out without even duck diving. And I'm like, fuck, kind of tripping. I'm like, fuck, how big is this? Like, I can't really figure it out. Anyway, this wave comes, and it's just a big, perfect left, and I just knife it, go straight over the handlebars, and while I'm getting fucking tossed like salad, I just get this fucking, boom, this knuck into my foot.
Oh.
And I just feel like, oh, no, that's bad. So I get washed in, thankfully, because sometimes you get churned around in that impact zone. And I look down, and I've got this fin chop in one of the arteries or veins in my foot.
Fuck off.
Except it didn't break the skin. So my foot's just got this blood blister that looks like basically like a passion fruit snapped in half, right on top of my foot.
Looks like Doinker's Vankin ball sack.
It looks like the 2 nuts that you brought home from the vet in a little jar for Doinker to stare at and lick when he gets the cone off. Anyway, mate, I started to have this trip out moment where I'm just looking at this thing going, what the fuck is that? And this lifeguard runs down the beach because I can't walk. And he just starts thumbing this blister, like just thumbing it, going, raw. And he goes, no, your foot's fine. There's no broken bones. So basically he's going into the blister to try and find any sort of like break. Doesn't do it. Cowboy carries me up to the room, up 3 flights of stairs, piggybacks me the whole way, kind of shower. I'm lying in bed just going, this is the fucking worst day ever. And it turns out while him and Oz were pulling me out of the water, their room got ransacked, so their passports and their wallets and everything was gone.
Oh, classic bit of hospitality from the local hoodlums.
Mate, so how's this? For the next week, I'm just bedridden. I can't move. It's fucking like 40 degrees during the day. the surf outside the window is just 6 to 8 foot, just draining. I can see Coco towing John in. Can see Oz and Cowboy just getting fucking slaughtered. They're coming in going, hey, man, can we borrow some money? Because, like, you know, our shit's gone. And I'm like lying there going, fuck this. It's fuck bullshit. Anyway, I'm just like literally can't even have my foot beneath my head. And it's just blowing up like a balloon. Agony, pure agony. And I'm just stuck in this hotel room watching the boys get drained, and then they're partying all night long, coming back into the room, gas bagging me fucking ears off, you can imagine. Anyway, I'm just fucking going mad. So I just got nothing to do. I got no books with me, no music. I just open the fucking side drawer and start reading the Bible.
Perfect.
Bro.
When you're at your lowest ebb, here
mate.
comes the book. Get hooked on the book to
and
rip you through the hard times.
Oz and Cowboy are getting in from the surf, just dehydrated, fucking ready to drink beers, have a hell time. And I'm going, guys, have you fucking read this book on Jesus, dude?
Genesis 6, Proverb 13. Thou shalt not thieve orbs from thy friend.
Oh, it was hilarious, dude. I fucking went full on down the rabbit hole of Jesus without interpretation, though. So I was, you know, I had a pretty good time reading that book. It wasn't too bad. I mean, it's a fucking trippy read.
Yeah.
But in the end, I just fucking was so torched mentally. I couldn't believe it, and I just gaffer taped my foot up. And luckily, once you sort of kept the pressure tight, you could surf. So got away with it. Yeah,
Back out there.
After a week, I was like, that's it. And we had the sickest time, man. We ended up Barney Barron and Dave Nelson, Randy Bonds, a bunch of Santa Cruz guys came down, and we just scored out of our minds for 2 weeks. It was the most magic joint. And it was a kind of, I think, maybe just the last little era before it went into this next phase, which this movie deals with a lot. But it was amazing, man. Hanging out with Coco all day. I think I told you that story too, where he said, come down and watch this video I've got. And we were like, okay. So we go down there thinking he's going to show us videos of him surfing, and it's just videos of him just fucking firing machine guns into the mountain. I was just going, fuck, this
Local
is amazing.
culture.
Oh, great trip, man. But yeah, I love this movie. It was just so well done, and a big shout to AVG and that Will. Yeah, just a really good job.
It's a good point you make about the consequence of that wave. You can often kid yourself into thinking, sand bottom, like a softer version of pipe. Wrong, mate. People get more lit up out there than almost anywhere you can think of.
Yeah.
The Bromley wipeout in this film is so fucking harrowing.
Yeah.
Cops the board straight to the third eye, Jim Banks style.
Oh, that's a fucking
Cuts him
wipeout.
to the skull.
Hefty.
And can't get back to shore. So he's stuck in that turbulent rip that's like just a couple meters from the sand. It's so amazing. So he gets dragged back out to sea, and the lineup surrounds him, kind of like Abe's Odyssey style, just holding vigil for him, chanting the sacred prayer that we all know off by heart in moments of difficulty. And they managed to kind of shepherd him like this. It was this beautiful thing. Reminded me of, I don't know, things that happen in nature where animals are injured and all the other animals surround them and protect them and get them to shore. But that was only the beginning of his ordeal, going to a Mexican hospital and oh my God, just getting dosed and sutured
Fucking
and
wild, eh?
spun and flipped and fucking survived it. But just crazy, what we do as surfers for this moment of peak experience and euphoria and just how far these elite guys are willing to push it. But at that level as well, like, fuck, they're such purists, aren't they? Because no money and sponos, it doesn't matter. Like, if you're going to knife one at 20-foot Porto, like, you've just got to be so connected and tapped in. And the fucked up thing about that joint is too, as with all sand bottom waves, there's just so many closeouts.
Oh, man. It is. Even Shane Dorian says in that film, it's actually more like a big closeout with the odd little corner. But when we were there, man, honestly, there was a couple of Arvos just in that 6-foot range, like not the crazy swells. We got like maybe one or two of those. I'll see if I can find them and put up on the gram as well from our trip, because there's a few around. But the big days are fucking just so thrilling, man. Like we surfed it. I think the biggest I surfed was probably pushing 8-foot Oz, like big enough for me, put it that way. But one Arvo, we saw this fucking guy. I can't remember his name. I think it's Will. He's a goofy, surfs there quite a bit back in the day. And it was fucking heaving, bro. It was just the most turned out sand, but like just dredging, like almost like a giant 15, 20-foot shory. Like that's what it looked like. And he just fucking pulled in this thing right on dark and just got the most insane drainer, washed up the beach. The whole beach is screaming. It can really dish up some iconic moments, man. One of the crazy things, though, Smithy, worth mentioning, I can't remember if they say it in the film, but like there's this thing that happens there where you can't get in. It just keeps sucking you back into the impact zone. So against all the fucking fibers of your soul, you want to just swim to the beach because it's right there. You can see it. It's not very far off. And yet you've got to swim back out and then swim back to the harbour. It's so trippy to do that. Like, it's weird.
Such a fascinating wave. You know, it's a pipeline-esque, super hollow wave. And yet you can ride bigger boards out there, get a bit of a chip, but it's like a chip then into the most cupped-out hollow section ever. You're seeing guys out there on 7.5s, 8.0s, 9.0s, sending it on. Yeah, it's unbelievable that a beach break can entertain waves of that size and still hold shape.
Yeah.
Crazy. It's a one-of-a-kind place.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Amazing.
It's so great.
We pray that it doesn't get fucked over by the reptiles.
As we pray for all the waves out there that are getting fucked, Smithy.
And I had shout out to Pedro Collado too. I believe he's a local surfer. Gets one of the craziest ones of all time out there, goofy footer. The Lokes, they hold it down, man. Amazing. And they're there whether, for whatever reason, they're just there. They're there packing it day after day, week after week, month after month.
A shout out also to Edwin Morales, who's one of the main characters in the film and also one of the producers. So
the photog,
man.
ex-Booger.
Just fucking
what a classic.
Good on you guys for actually making a film with a proper message and one that I think by the end of it, you want to get him behind. You want to get him behind Porto and the Loke Dogs.
And there's not just Konequents in the lineup. A story relayed to me by a Swellian. A bit of a full moon party. A nighttime nude swim was on the cards. Ooh. And as he was making his way down to the beach with his two mates who were further along the sand, the local hoodlums didn't take too kindly to his moonlit prong and, in fact, abducted him. Took him and his clothes to the nearest ATM, forced him at gunpoint to withdraw a lot of money before abandoning him nude on a highway somewhere in regional Mexico. So,
whoa.
Be careful, guys.
Be careful, yeah. I thought you were going to say they just rolled up the tea towels and just sack-whacked him all the way back to the fucking hotel.
Whoopsh, whoopsh.
Number 4.
Children of Chopu Vaughn, another epic doco coming out of the surf celluloid realm. This thing is, just another classical tour de force through the Tahitian and, kind of that grassroots surf community underground, just like Place of Thorns. And they're both recent productions. They're both really worth your time. Focuses on Gilbert Tiave, one of the Groms who's been raised on that slab, a kid from modest means, voiced or told by Tim McKenna. Is he an Aussie guy originally? I know he's been there for decades and speaks perfect French, but I was under the impression he was an Aussie. But
I think he might. I don't know, actually. Obviously, he's a famous Chopu name because he shot the Millennium Wave.
He's the guy at the end of the road.
lead wave, man, Been there forever and ever, and an absolute legend from down that way for sure. But don't know where he's from.
Just an amazing film, really shedding light on this tiny little fishing village, the fucked up wave out the front, and the Groms who've been raised on it to the point they're now surfing 6 to 8 foot slab switch. Gilbert Tiave's the main kid featured. McKenna makes the salient point that a lot of the surfers that come from the end of the road, well, not a lot, but some have money, some don't. So that's an important distinction to make. Like surfing can be quite expensive if you want to go to that next level and become sponsored, but it's good to acknowledge these kids who don't have that money behind them. So Chopes is it for them. The end of the road is the end of the road in terms of their careers, and they dedicate themselves to that wave and surf it like no other. It's not just Gilbert. I actually wrote a story called Children from the End of the Road back in 2016. about exactly these.
What, like on location? Went over there, met them all? And
Nah,
stuff?
I just called them up.
Oh, cool.
Matahai and Mataho. Mataho Tedapata. He was my guy. He was my favourite out of this generation of Groms. Basically, famous for his heroics on weather-beaten yellow boards. He's got, in 2016, he had one of the rides of the year in the Big Wave Awards out there. This fucking glass sculpture. It's the craziest still you'll ever see. Just the son of a local fisherman. His mother works at the harbour. I think he started surfing 4 years prior to that Wave of the Year entry.
Yeah, right.
Fucking madness.
Yeah,
and you can see in his technique, it's a little bit glitchy and gangly, but the feel for that wave is second to none. The read on it, his ability to just trust that he's going to find his inside rail once he's in the spot and under the ledge. Like he knows that split second of time, and there's no fear in that moment. And I love stories like that. Just this Core Lord Underground classic getting so fucking slabbed. Amazing.
I just love anything that shines a light on, and this film, you could say the same for the Porto film. It's like, man, I don't know why people have it in their heads that there's just this first generation of local surfers who are pushing the limits and growing up on these waves. Like, there've fucking been generations of crew cracking these things just because fucking whiteys with cameras turned up and fucking start showing the world what's going on. Like, man, there's some epic photos in the Zicatella film of just the OG Mexican guys who grew up, born and raised in the village. Of course they're going to be fucking dominating out there on the big swells, man. This is a good example. We're seeing it all through Indo. I don't know. I just love that fucking the Loke Dogs are sort of just dominating their own space. That's kind of how it should be. It doesn't mean that they're not welcoming or fucking okay with having crew coming in. Not so much the developers, but more so sharing the wave with world-class athletes or people who respect it, go there, understand. Because Chopes is sort of a funny one because a lot of the surfers, ever since it sort of started opening up competition-wise, they get billeted with families. So it's a totally different experience to just going there, staying in some fucking hotel or resort, drinking Mai Tais by the pool while you're not surfing your heats. You are in. You get to know everyone. You get to know the relos, the cousins, the fucking second cousins. You go to weddings. You go to barbecues. It's a full community experience, or has been forever and ever, staying out there. So I would say that a lot of the surfers who are surfing on tour have seen these kids since they were born, man. They would have been little ankle biters running around when they were staying there for the first time, and now they're out in the lineup with them. Cool thing to share, eh?
Yeah, and there's that previous generation. I mean, it goes all the way back to Vatia David, doesn't it? But then,
Arsene Hareho before that. Remember him? Arsene?
He's featured in something I watched recently. Yeah, maybe it was on Tairua Henry's channel or something like that. But, Hira Teratanufa, and then... now this modern generation. I don't know how many of them, though, actually grew up in that village at Chopes. That village is a surreal thing. The reputation of Chopu is so big and massive. It's this global mecca, the heaviest wave in the world. And you go to that village, it's tiny. Yeah. There's fucking 10 cunts living there. And, it's all homestays, getting builded in these classic traditional Polynesian houses. There's no place for surf tourism there. There's no space for it. You're wedged up against these mountains. But, of course, they're trying to wedge this capitalist agenda in there, and the Olympics is a massive part of that wedge. And this film, again, shines a light on that, like the Porto film, where it talks about just the incongruous nature of having this global sporting event at this wave. The locals didn't want it. It's fuck the reef. It's kind of fucking the foreshore. They're excavating all this gravel and sand to build structures. It's completely destroying the vibe of the place.
Yeah.
And it just, it made me really think about the wisdom of this Olympic event there. And we kind of wanted it, I guess. In theory, it seemed like a good idea. Oh, let's have the Olympics at Chopes. But, the closer we get to it, it's looking like the swell's going to be in that 4-foot fun size range. You piss off the tiki gods, Vaughn. They fucking slap you down. And it looks like it's about to get slapped down. And it just doesn't seem right. You can't spoil this perfect, pristine little slice of Polynesia. You can't prevent the Groms from surfing the wave, which they're going to do for the waiting period. It kind of reeks. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm backing it anymore.
Yep, fair call. Well, I mean, we got, 9 days till the Olympics fires up. Obviously, skin in the game with the four Irukandjis who we're backing. So I do understand the conflict going on with that because on one hand, you do have just being a sport fucking lunatic, fucking love sport, like in any way, shape or form. But yeah, at the expense of, this tiny little village, I can get behind that.
It's a slap in the face to Tahiti too. It's the French Olympics. Like it's just like Tahiti is barely a part of France. It's a part of France based on some colonial hangover. Like have it in your own fucking country.
Yeah.
If the locals don't want it, you shouldn't be there.
Yeah, good call.
Why don't you just go and fucking nuke Mururoa Atoll while you're at it? You fucking frog dogs. Hey? Jacques Chirac. No nukes, Chirac! No Olympics! Macron! East Coast swell apocalypse. Alluded to at the top of the show. Fuck, it was pumping.
Cone fest.
North Ave to Lennox to Stratty. It was all on.
Mate, there's just so much prolapsed corn out there, Smithy. Like, fuck, people were getting their coits rinsed out.
Even Maroubra was coning.
Mate,
in
everywhere.
The city beach breaks.
Did you cop the Surfline forecast in the lead up to it going, hey, everywhere is going to pump this weekend. The whole continent. Like, they were down northwest WA, southwest WA, South Oz, Vico, Tassie, East Coast.
Darwin.
Everywhere's going to pump. Fucking quit everything and just get your corn ready for the absolute rinsing of a lifetime. Some spots better than others, but generally speaking, the East Coast at least went bonkers, dude. Bonkers.
How long until we get an official in the CFMEU, one of the unions, who can just call, like, straight up, down tools, it's an old-fashioned surf strike?
It's got to be soon. It has to be.
It has to be. I mean, surfing is so interwoven in the fabric of this country. Surely we get a union official who surfs, who's a call lord. I know the Maritime Union down there in Sydney's full of them. The MUA, they haven't lifted a finger in decades when the surf's been cooking.
Nah. It's weird, though? It was a weekend. Like, the best day was kind of like, Friday Arvo into Saturday. So, I mean, it was for the weekend stuff, yes, a tough draw. But shout out to, one point in particular, let's just say north of Sydney was absolutely fucking could be best evers.
I know.
A lot of the low dogs were saying best evers. A doff of the cap. And you know who you are, big triple cone for one of the local dogs out there.
Mate, the Glenn Curtis, Luke Condon double back-to-back was fucked up. Just thermonuclear, flat bottom, spinning like some kind of pokies feature. Just my eyes were just transfixed on that.
Yeah, the most cone man alive in 2024 continues his run. Solly Bailey, like, who's fucking schlong was he slurping in a previous life to be getting this sort of comeuppance?
Oh, he had to be all over Buddhist schlong, didn't he?
Oh, mate, like, just fair dinkum. He can't walk out his front door without getting in a fucking cone these days. Solly Bailey. He got a couple of fucking mad drainers. Jimmy Wood, Taipan, 2-time ISA junior world champ.
Yes.
Coned off his head.
Rasmus King getting fully stuffed in a filthy orb, but managing to burst through the chandelier and give the double fingers to the Gronk who faded him. That was a heavy fade. Nothing worse in surfing than being deep in a cone and watching some cretin scratching, sniffing around, pushing your section down.
Oh, I know.
And taking off and not getting chewed when you're in there and fucking your pit. That is the lowest maneuver in the game.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, basically from wherever you wanted to go, whatever you wanted to surf was there. I had a crack at said point, Smithy. Got a couple of fun ones for sure. Got a couple of pretty sweet lickings. Ocean had plenty of juice. I was kind of like, I don't know what was wrong with me. I was just having one of those weird days where I just couldn't quite tap it, you know. You and I did the last ep in the morning, and then I hit it in the Arvo, and I was just kind of a little bit frazzled. Don't know what happened, but the next day, went and surfed this point's second little cousin, and scored big time, man. Big time. Probably two of the best. And I was actually surfing lefts, which was super weird, considering that like everywhere was pumping right-handers, and ended up getting two of the best backside pits I've had this year by far.
Wow.
So sick. Me and me old childhood buddy Aussie Wright, we just surf this left by ourselves, no rip, no closeouts, just having the time of our lives. Fuck, it was good, Smithy.
That's amazing.
Got me feel, mate.
Yep. Peniel's packed to the brim. Best I saw was Sierra Kerr whipping Papa Josh into a couple on
What a
some
life.
Misto Sandspit.
Yeah.
How insane is that? It's far out. The just desserts for one of the great purists, core lords, and real gentlemen of pro surfing, Josh Kerr. Now he's chip off the old blocks on the jet ski and just getting him so filthily drained. How surreal is that?
Madness, man. And you think about, like, you know, what people were doing in past lives. He must have been Mother Teresa or something, Kersey. Everything is just coming up Kersey. It's like everything he touches turns to gold. Every time he paddles out, he's getting slaughtered. Just a gorgeous life. Yeah, whipped in by your daughter, though. Wow. Big Christmas coming up for Sierra.
Big time.
Number 2.
A Chinese American gets busted at Urban Surf in Sydney with 250 kilograms of fried rice form. Can you believe that? I mean, and you know, what's wrong with that, you might ask? Well, it wasn't the prawn and ham and pea variety of fried rice.
Right. Yep.
It was the crystal meth variety. And so the story was American Guang Shai was allegedly in the process of collecting a 1/4 ton of ice at the Sydney Wave pool when the old Bill nabbed him. You're nabbed, buddy.
That's mad. That's mad.
1/4 ton
Why
of fried
surf?
rice, you're going down.
Why Urban Surf? Has it come out?
Yeah, I don't know exactly. I mean, maybe that's just...
Such an odd place to get your deals going down.
Yeah, I mean, who's...
But was it inside or outside?
I think it was outside.
Yeah, right.
And I just wonder whether, you know, anyone's tested the water there, what the freezing point of that crystalline blue water is, and whether we're all just paddling around in liquidated meth. I don't know.
Well, I mean, okay, that makes sense. I mean, I've come in from surfs feeling pretty jacked up sometimes.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I didn't.
More jacked up in the urban arena?
Well, no, not especially, but I mean, definitely froth levels do get up there. But yeah, that's wild, Smithy.
Yeah, and so, you know, it made me think, is this bloke, American Guang Shai, just the latest call lord to run afoul of archaic drug trafficking laws, you know, a la Ricky Rasmussen, Mike Boyum, Peter McCabe, even Evan Fawkes got done for meth recently. Or should they be throwing the book at this bloke and maybe even a couple of phone books while they're at it?
Mate, look, I don't know what they should do, but meth doesn't seem like a drug that, you know, you can sort of just cruise along with harmlessly. It seems like it leaves a fair trail of destruction. Maybe it's a book throwing escapade, this one.
And the book, and if you're still not repentant, maybe the old barbed wire hitting up the steel pole slotted deep into the backside chamber all the way to his core.
Tell you what, man, that the podcast you did with Brady from the Clink, well, that had some scary shit in it. Especially when he started going into, you know, don't think you're going into the Clink and being protected, and then you've got a crew or you know someone and you're safe. That was terrifying, bro. If you haven't had a listen, go back. It's like 2 eps ago. Core Lords, Brent Simpson. Brent Simpson. Sorry, yeah, and holy shit, man, that was wild convo. Stick away from the dealing, the shenanigans that you know have the potential to hurt other people's lives, because the cosmic comeuppance will be severe, Smithy. You know it.
And these American Chinese, they've got their fingers all over the wave pool world. Are they the new school core lords of the wave pool movement? We heard about Patty Zhu in a recent episode. Raised surfing in the wave pool. She's gotten to an insanely proficient level. And now maybe is this the core version of that, where we've got this guy who's just living the life, drug trafficking his way around the world, going from wave pool to wave pool.
That is absolutely amazing. Can you imagine the docos coming out in 30 or 40 years in China? Released by the state.
Sea of crystalline liquidated ice.
Sea of chlorine, it's called.
He had fucking red eyes on him, old Cheng. Guangxi, yeah.
Yeah. It's like
looking to be
the
torched.
country soul movement all over again. You know, midget stays down the
Yeah.
coast, get Surfing Australia cranking, all that. You know, the good stuff. Get the corporate giants into support, and then meanwhile, you know, Nat and the boys heading up the coast, growing
Growing a
their
couple
own
of plants.
crops. Yeah. I love
Yeah,
that.
it could be where we're
Alternative
headed.
lifestyles. I love it. Smithy. Number 1.
The Olympics are looming, Vaughan, and the children of the corn are mounting up. Gabriel Medina's donned the cornrows, the
Phil's
signature
got corn.
cornrows.
Gabby's got corn. What's going on here? Jack Robbo and Ethan Ewing need to corn up. I
reckon?
say yes. Yeah, I say get on it. Like rattle them. Turn up there. Because they're going to turn up there. Oh, JL's in there too, right? So has he corned up? Can we confirm?
Cannot confirm.
Did you know that here's Joao Chianca? I'm pretty sure he had big paintings of Christ the Redeemer painted on his surfboards in the OC. Is that what it's called? Olympic Committee or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like they've made him take them off.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They're ripping the hijabs off. They're ripping the Christ Redeemers off.
Yeah, no Christ for you.
No God bothering whatsoever
yeah,
at this Olympics.
No coming out and like pointing to the sky. That's
No
a big
thanking the
no-no.
Creator?
Oh, no,
Are
no,
you
no.
kidding me?
No.
That's sacrilege.
Too many religions, too many opportunities to offend.
Oh, come on. You've got to be able to give props to the guy and Mother Nature and her
Yeah.
amazing jizz that she sprays all over you as you come out of it. I mean,
Oh,
that's
mate.
fucking just...
Like, yeah, there's no shroud of John. There's no prayer bowls. There's no meditation, Smithy. It's just keep it fucking,
Disgrace.
keep it sterile, man. Yeah, I don't know if Mohammed's going to get a look in. You know, we've got a few
Careful.
Muslim competitors in this one.
Careful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, don't even let that bloke's name cross your
Oh no.
infidel lips.
Well, I just, you know, I can. Well, look, all I'm saying, Smithy, is get Robbo, Molly, Tyler. Just a quick stop in at Bali on the way up
Oh,
to
yes.
Tahiti.
good idea.
Get your little plats in and
Straight
rock
to
up.
Legian.
If not with the full cornrows, Brazil style, then at least have the beaded braids.
Yeah, I think it's a
That'd
good
be a
move.
sick look. Bintang singlets.
Amazing. Kentucky to us, straight from Bali to Chokes. Warm up at Kuta Reef with a couple of
Yeah.
little corn rinses.
Imagine
then go to
if-
the big pupper
Yeah.
with your jangly braided hairdo and some bintang
Yeah,
singlets.
Tyler Wright, as she's just dropping down, her body leg creeps up, and there's just this infected tattoo, just fucking covered in clad wrap. That'd be so good. Ethan Ewing with a fucking bintang singlet, another, just gross looking, completely flared
Yes.
up.
Well, it couldn't do any worse for Tyler. I mean, she's all at sea with these dizzy spells. Maybe that's what she needs. A good old, just a run down Mushroom Alley there in Kuta and a bodgy tattoo. Bit of hepatitis might set her on the straight and narrow.
I think so. Also, mate, just for all crew who are interested, we're going to do a full Olympic preview blitzed episode. I think we might even get Hoggy to come down and sort of walk us through what the Aussies need to do, the ultimate team, man. But, what else has happened over there Olympic spec-wise?
Well,
Swell report.
Yeah, Surfline's predicting, quote, small but rideable, kind of fun and quite westerly southwest swell in the head high-ish range.
So we'll have the bowl. The bowl will be in play.
Yeah, I
little
mean,
bit.
it's going to be that inside ledge, like 4 foot. It's the fucking lowest. I hate that shit. I fucking hate those comps. I've been there for one of them. It was like the Mint 400. It was so boring. Pretty much any surfer in the world, professional or not, can get barreled out there. As a result, we've seen puckered fills.
It's just through the roof.
It's loosened. It's back to a normal size.
Not puckering at all, even, you could say.
That's what the reports coming out of Brazil are suggesting. So yeah, he's come in real short on the odds, and it could be a sacrilegious goal to puck
Are
and
you
fill down the
saying
road.
that the swell report has acted like a little vial of GBH or amyl nitrate, and Phil's just opened up? He's all relaxed. He's ready to go.
I wouldn't say he's that relaxed, but he's more relaxed than I've seen him confronting an event at Chopet for many a year.
But it's gone from puckered to potentially pulsing.
Yeah, I would say puckered to pulsing, and once it's on that code red, it's then prolapsed. Well, depending on where the pinnacle gets him, but
odds for the Olympics. We've sort of touched a little toe in the water with this before, but man, it's 4 foot. Like, it brings a lot of people into play who you might want to have a little long shot on.
It's one of those
I'm
events
not much of a
now.
better. I don't really bet, but if
No,
I was
I'm
going
not a
to,
gambler
like,
either. But in terms of who it brings into play, it turns it into a proper crapshoot. Like there's almost no way of separating professional surfers in a ruler edge Pacific slab at 4 foot.
Yeah.
Like it's how do you?
Like
they
anyone
they
can-
can all get barreled in those cons.
that's it. Yeah, you're right. It sucks a little bit of the steam out.
This is my greatest fear. This is why
Yeah.
I thought Hossiger was a better option.
But I mean, Hoskell just is not going to be breaking. That's the only problem.
But like we had this convo, like August, we're getting towards the season. So well, in any case,
Well, in the old days, they had comps there and they had fun shories.
yeah,
know.
like at least in a beach break, if there's any kind of cons, you can at least separate the wheat from the chaff. So I'm worried. I'm real worried about.
Imagine though, Smith, if you were talking before about the cosmic karma, the comeuppance. If Chopes just fizzles and the fucking French beaches are just all time.
It's highly likely.
You're calling it, aren't you?
Yeah, could be. We'll keep our eye on what's going on over there. I don't know if the contest site's mobile. They can just
Pick it up
spend
and
a bit
move
of
it
that
over there.
IOC loot to just get
Well,
some.
haven't they got some like gigantic ship out in the channel? They can just have a big old 2-week party cruise all the way over there. Vasco Ramirez going, fuck, I wish I wasn't locked down. I could have been there.
Exactly. But Romper Swell came a week too early. And there was a lot of Olympic hopefuls there. Griffin Colapinto, Joan Daru, Leo Fioravanti were the main culprits in the lineup there, getting a few reps in. I think I saw Carissa Moore prior to this swell over there getting a few reps in. So
Arnie Riss is in the Olympics, isn't she?
defending, I believe so.
So, hey, yeah, it's her and Marksy, bruh.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, this swell, proper. It wasn't code red, but definitely in the code brown range. And interesting though, it was still the Lokes that dominated. You know, Gilbert Tiave was the guy. His Instagram clip, there's about 5 of them in a row, just fucking nuts, just hucking it on filthy double ups. Coley Vast towed what he reckons is the craziest wave of his life. Kevin Perez, Michelle Perez's brother, had this little spray for the Olympians. Only a couple of them were here, and they didn't surf when it was the biggest. I guess they didn't want to get hurt before the contest. I think Team Japan is here and some of the French team as well. They better prepare for anything
That's shade.
because Chopu has many faces.
That's mad shade, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
He's like, he's basically picking his nose, just wiping boogies all over the competitors in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Amayo go crazy over there?
Mayo went fucking ballistic.
Yeah, always.
So, yeah, it's just a bit of a weird sideshow at this point. The Olympics in Tahiti with the swell forecast, the fact that the guys aren't even getting a run. Yeah, I don't know.
No.
I'm going cold on it.
Yeah. Well, let's see if the Hoggy can fire us up next week.
For classic moments in degenerate surf history.
Oh, classic moment. Haven't been here for a while.
No,
Perfect.
our last installment, we revisited Slater's sculling of a Hanino beer in the pit at Chopes.
That's right.
Andy Irons, his nemesis, of course, had to one-up him by winning the Eureka Pro Chile in 2007, one of the heaviest and most injurious events in history. And he was absolutely buged off his scone. Fizzed out of his gird, he was. On the local cocoa leaf in its processed variety. But yeah, just absolutely packed the bugle with rock after rock on his way to maybe that's how you get it done on a rocky slab like that. You got to kind of become one with the rock. It's in your bloodstream. Rocks recognize rocks. They're like, yeah, this guy's on our frequency. Let's let him free passage through the slab.
I vaguely remember in Kiss by God, or I don't know if this is just stuff I heard over the years through the grapey, but that was kind of bad timing to win that event because he was already sort of starting to have really heavy substance abuse issues, and he wins this comp maybe after coming out of rehab. Can't remember, but it was a full blown Senfest. But I mean that comp was so crazy, man. Like that wave was pumping but terrifying, full pipe spec but wobbly and breaking into a rock shelf.
Mate, it's
Mad.
insane. The WSL from the vault is worth watching on the Eureka Pro. What a wave. Got that big opening bowl, pipeline-esque, and then, again, like Pipe has that crazy running down ramp tube section where it's just going across the bricks, and just an incredible event. Bobby Martinez, fucking hell, putting on a clinic out there. KP stuffing himself. Mick Fanning goes all the way to the semis, starts finding rights, goes up against AI.
Can you sense what's coming for Fanning like just by watching that one event? Because that 2007, his world title.
He won it in
year.
Brazil, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can, because he's gritted and got it done on this psycho slab. It's not really in his wheelhouse when you
At
think
that
of
stage,
Fanning.
yeah.
I mean, he can do it in any cons, but like this is one of the gnarliest waves, and he's finding these backdoor-esque rights. He goes toe-to-toe with AI in the semis, full shootout, pushes AI all the way, but the Great Hawaiian drops a 9 to get the win, and the Hobgoods are in the other semi. Two identical twins going orb for orb. Damo gets the nod, I believe, and then it's
Far
up
out.
against AI in the final.
So that was a Hobgood semi-off. That is filth, man.
Mate, it was one of the great contests. I remember Adriano de Souza splitting his head trying to just come in. Royden Bryson, the Safa, gets one of the all-time worst scorpions you'll ever see. I think he does
Kicks himself in the back of the head.
Yeah, he pretty much does a breakdancing head spin on a pinnacle and gets just taken off to
Flexed.
the hospital on a gurney, strapped down. You can see Greg Emsley just looked at him going, "Oh, you're dead, cunt. This is hectic. Fuck, sorry, bruh." Yeah, one of the great spectacles. Bring it back. Make him earn their
That's
keep.
what I was just about to say, man. The Search event as a mainstay on tour, it is almost like gold dust. Like, no matter what was going on, they seem to almost always score, dude. Padang was cooking. Reunion was cooking. Freaking Mexico was probably still to this day one of the greatest surf comps of all time. And Chile was fucking just death slabs. Like, bring it back, Rip Curl. Get the Search event back on tour. We've got to do it because, I mean, they've pulled out of the Woz finals, so that's done. There's got to be a little bit of backsheesh in the coffers there to get it done, man. I love that comp.
Yeah, they appeased the core lords, the tiki gods, and they got the rub by, just going straight to what surfing's all about and getting on the road and finding new
That's it. But on the
world-class
flip
waves.
side, man, on the flip side, just to fully contradict what we were saying earlier, like, I think one of the reasons why they started to put the Search event on ice was that people just didn't want it. Like, everywhere they went, they were just getting full blowback. Oh, nah, we don't want a fucking CT here. So,
Yeah, they tried to do one up at Toomey's, didn't they?
yeah,
And the
they
Lokes
tried
were
to do
having
one at
none of
Lennox.
it.
There was a fucking giant pitchforks and torches out the front of the council chambers in Ballina. Just, get the fuck away from us. But I don't know. Yeah, it's a sick event. If you can somehow do it where everyone's considered and you get deal with the fucking bureaucracy of it all and just somehow get it on. It's a hell addition to the tour.
It's got to be.
Hell of an
It's
addition.
got to be in the Americas. The Americas haven't coughed up. We're all coughing up, and the Americas are just getting off scot free. Looking at you, Chile, Peru, Canada.
Yeah,
Yeah.
give it up. Yeah, great comp. And AI beats Damo.
Yeah. Backs off a little bit for the final, but the early rounds from start to finish, consequential in the extreme. Serious consequence. Mick Lowe's head first dive out of an 8-footer is so fucked up. Don't know how he survived that one.
You know what I was tripping on, Smithy, is like, how many slab events have there ever been on tour? Like, ever. Like, when I was watching this, I was like, fuck, is this the only slab event there's ever been? Like, yes, pipeline slabs out, but essentially it's a perfect A-frame peak. Like, this is not very perfect. It's warbly. It's, it's got all the elements of classic Australian slab charging. Like, man,
cold
it's time.
water.
It's time, Smithy. It's time we get a fucking big, thick, heaving orb on tour that can really do some damage because the elite surfers are up for it, man.
Mate.
They can get it done.
100%. They were up for it in 2007.
The surfing
nearly
actually
20 years
doesn't
ago.
age at all in
Oh,
this, the
mate,
tube riding and
it's
stuff.
amazing,
Yeah.
the tube riding. Kai Otten as well, the Tathra Titan.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just watching the creme de la creme. And you can see them, how nervous they are before the heat. They're looking at it just going, oh, this is real. We're earning our keep today. And they did.
Are they
Incredible
nervous or are
performance.
they gurning? That's the question.
Yeah, little from column A, little from column B, I think. There's definitely some strook heads in that contest site, and plenty of Chilean punk rockers with mullets and earrings just going, baksheesh, you want? Cocaine, what you want?
How good.
What a moment in degenerate surf history it was.
Well played. Great memory. What is it? The WSL Vault? Just whack it in there.
Yeah, WSL
The
Vault.
Search,
I think
2007.
They say the World Tour's most sketchy event or something like that.
Yeah,
is the
yeah,
title.
cool.
Well titled.
Magic.
Over and under.
Oh, what do we got?
Well, from AI's classic Coke bender, let's fast forward to 2024, and we've got former World Junior Champ Vasco Ribera, who gets done by the Anti-Doping Authority for refusing a drug test because he's a single dad, putting his 2 daughters to bed, and he'd had a bit of a night on the ching and the chuff, courtesy of his mates, trying to cheer him up over a relationship breakdown, Vaughn. And, the irony is he's fucking Portuguese where this shit's legal. And here comes some robot in a trench coat.
Decrimmed.
Yeah, decrimmed. Some robot in a trench coat conducting piss tests. And Vasco's he's choked. He said, "What?
Yeah.
No, not doing it." But it hasn't gone down too well for him. He's been fully stung, handed a pretty solid ban.
What is it, 2 years, 3 years?
Yeah, something like that.
Fuck, wild.
Yeah. So I don't know how we feel about this, Vaughn. The question is this stuff even performance enhancing? Looking at AI's performance, I'd have to say it is.
Yeah, right.
And I guess going back to the days of Pipeline and the patron saint of Ain't That Swell, Tommy Carroll chopping up lines as the North Lines steam into the world's most famous apex. It was a big coke scene at Pipe in the 80s and 90s.
The weird thing is, though, is like why? In the context of is it performance enhancing? Like clearly it's not. Like there's no event on. It's just a random drug test, right? Like they've turned up after a night out. Yeah. Like it's in the context of what's going on. He's not using it to try and advance his performance at all. He's just using it because he's had a bust up and he wants to fucking get out of his mind for a second. It's a weird one, man. Like the ISA, to be like, as one of the boxes you got to tick to be an Olympic sport, you have to have drug testing in your fucking rules to be acknowledged, accepted as an Olympic sport. So that's one of the prerequisites that you've got to have. But on the flip side of that, the drug testing that has undone surfers in the past, I'm thinking of Neko Patarats, right? He was on a really solid steroid program, apparently, for these fuck discs in his back. So he got done not for party drugs, but for actual drugs that were giving him basically just the ability to paddle out and surf. Like, it seems unfair to me. Like, I don't know. Like, what other way do you fix yourself if you're not getting cortisone shots and fucking trying to just heal as quickly as possible? But I don't know, man. I don't know. The world of drug cheats, it's just a fucking bizarre place. Yes. Like, in the lead up to an event, EPO and jacking up, blood transfers, all that stuff, of course, it's fucking obvious. But I don't know, man. Like, healing from injuries and having an odd night out just seems such harsh punishment. 2 years out of your professional life, which is such a short window anyway. What do you reckon?
Yeah, it's madness. And the timing of it, like, how did they manage to bust Vasco so randomly? Was this lab dick just kicking around in the pub with his trench coat on, his spy versus spy get up, just peeking over his sunglasses at Vasco and the boys, having a good old time and seeing a couple of them nick off to the dunnies and just being like,
also, man,
I've got him.
Who are these
You're
people?
nicked, Vasco.
Who are these people who turn up to your house? Because apparently you've got to pull your junk out and do it right in front of them. There's no going to the bathroom. You've got to, just get your little cup out. And depending on who you are, imagine Michelle Perez trying to piss into one of those little cups, mate.
Oh.
Be like trying to fire hose into a thimble.
That thimble's just pinging around the cubicle like shrapnel.
I don't know how it works for women, but they're just given this little cup. They're not given a little cone or some sort of device to try and siphon all the gear into this one little space. So, you're just basically waving it around under there, trying to catch whatever drips and drops get in there.
Yeah, it's a good question. And he's, what happens to that piss test after that sus cunt in the lab dick coat exits the cubicle? Is he having little sifters of it? Is he, is he that kind of deviant? Little.
It's
Vasco, you've been a naughty boy.
Oh dearie me. Well,
the whole thing's sus.
It's part of the game. If surf wants to be an Olympic sport, that's just part of the game. If you're enrolled and a member of the ISA, which I guess every single surfer who pulls a rashi on is these days because they all want to be in the Olympics or surfing the ice games. That's part of it.
The irony is the president of the ISA, Fernando Aguirre, a Panamanian CEO of Reef or whatever he is. Oh, geez, you don't reckon he's seen a couple of offshore lines?
I could not say, Smithy. I could
allegedly.
not say.
But, mate, I tell you, Panama is literally the home of cocaine distribution to the entire world. And the home of the ISA. So, surely, come on, Fernando, throw a bit of bucksheesh. Vasco's way. The Anti-Doping Authority. Go on, do something. You got to get the boys off the hook.
Well, at least
disgrace.
Vasco's got the Wim Hof to get him through these troubling times, Smithy. Doesn't have to rely on that gear anymore. He can just do the deep breathing, mate.
Get into
it's
it,
wellness
Vasco.
afloat, bro. Get him on wellness afloat.
Oh, yeah, fucking oath. August 12th to August 23. We're hitting the seas. Get on there, Vasco. Come and hoff with the Techno Viking and forget your woes.
So, just to be clear, Blake Johnston, Smithy, 8 spots up for grabs, 10?
Something like that, yeah.
And just on the Barrenjoey, perfect season, Indo. Been a bumper season already. Get
Bit
up
of
there.
late season, guaranteed to be less crowded, still plenty of swell in August. Yeah.
Up the swellians
at gmail.com.
at gmail.com.
No.
Sign up.
Vaughan, still in chokes.
hang on.
Oh, well, that's an under. Yeah, that's an under.
Big under for the Vasco Sitcho. Huge over for Swellness afloat.
Absolutely. Still in chopes, Vaughan. A 19-year-old Aussie photog got slingshotted on his surf mat into the reef and nearly carked it on that romper swell. This is according to Stab Magazine. Australian landsman Byron McLaughlin was found wafting through the lineup face down, lifeless and foaming at the mouth. He was promptly pulled by the water by local surfer Angelo Ferrari and photographer Ryan Craig Chachi before being rushed to hospital and placed in an induced coma. Just 30 minutes earlier, the 19-year-old had already been rescued by former CT surfer Michel Perez. After taking a particularly heavy set straight to the flippers, he went over the falls and Michel, who was on jet ski duty, noticed the teenager flailing about in the lagoon, punched it in his direction and safely dropped him back into the channel.
Hosing a thimble, Perez pulled him out of the water and he was conscious and then he lapsed into unconsciousness moments later.
No. He got flogged and then scoffed a protein bar, changed the batteries in his camera, and then went out and had another crack and then ended up in the induced coma.
Oh.
Skits.
So, hang on. Wait, is this 2 separate incidents or it's the same incidents?
On the same day.
Oh, dude, that's pretty heavy.
Yeah. So here's a quote from Owen Beam via Stab Magazine. He got sucked over the falls on a bomb when the swell was building. When he got back to the channel, he told me how gnarly of a beatdown he had and he was stoked to be back in the channel. Not even a minute after talking to him, I hear Ryan Craig, a.k.a. Chachi, screaming for help. It looked like he passed out in the water and he began foaming at the mouth. He pretty much drowned. It was so rattling. Definitely the scariest moment I've witnessed in the water.